Sunday Satsang, April 16, 2023, equalise breath. And the first part, we're going to discuss tasting Bhakti Ras and Manjari Bhav Sadhana. So a particular point we were discussing from Manjari Bhav Sadhana is about how is it the Manjaris who don't even touch Krishna, how can they be considered to be amorous lovers of Krishna? Amorous lovers means they're stairati, their permanent mood of loving relationship for Krishna is like Radharani and like Lalita Vishaka. So this is a discussion presented by Kunjabihari Goswami, Kunjabihari Das Babaji Maharaj, quoting different shastras, to show how the Manjaris are experiencing amorous love with Krishna and how they fit the category of Madhurya, the stairati of Madhurya. So he says, the nature of Madhurya Ras is that the gopis want to please Krishna by offering their own bodies for Krishna's happiness. According to we can understand that the gopis like Radharani, Vishaka, Lalita, they serve Krishna by directly offering their bodies to him. That is their qualification for being in Madhurya Ras. The Manjaris, on the other hand, are not enthusiastic about such service. They never contemplate such a possibility, even in their dreams. In other words, the Manjaris don't even dream about kissing Krishna, embracing Krishna. It's hard to imagine. So the person you don't want to touch, you don't want to kiss or embrace, how do you have an amorous relationship with him? This is an interesting question. So they never contemplate. So the question may be asked, if there's no possibility of romance, there is no possibility of Madhurya Ras or romance without physical intimacy, how can the brother-sister mood of the Manjaris be called Kamarup Bhakti or Madhurya Rati? The answer to this question should be said that the object of the Manjari's affection is Radha and Krishna together. The perfection of Manjari's power of sight and the thirst of their eyes is to see Radha and Krishna locked in a loving embrace. The craving of the ears of the Manjaris, what they want to hear. They want to hear the sweet murmuring love conversations of Radha and Krishna. This is the fulfillment of their sense of hearing. Desire of the tongues of the Manjaris is to relish the tambo and prasad that was touched by the lips of Radha and Krishna. This way, their sense of taste attains perfection. Similarly, the sweet fragrance that arises from Radha and Krishna's union is the subject craved by the noses, by the sense of smell, and the fulfillment of the sense of smell of Manjaris. The sense of touch, sparsha, finds fulfillment when the Manjaris massage the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna and their bodies. This is the only object of their sense of touch. In this way, it can be said that the four types of sambhog means romantic or amorous union, enjoyment of Radha and Krishna and gopis, which means what Shiva Goswami says, sambhog by seeing the beloved, by talking to the beloved, by touching, and by having union. The first three are present to the Manjaris to some extent. But how do they experience union with Krishna? It's called samprayoga. This is explained in Govinda Lilamrita how the Manjaris experience union with Krishna. Krishna's pleasure-giving potency is personified in Radharani, who is like a premalata, creeper of love, and whose fruits of this creeper are prema. The Sakhis of Radharani are like branches, leaves, and flowers, which expand from her very self and are equal to Radharani. For this reason, that winding creeper of love, premalata, when that premalata is enjoyed by Krishna's sporting activities, the leaves and flowers find hundreds of times more pleasure than if they themselves were enjoyed directly by Krishna. The love of Radharani and Krishna, although very elevated and self-manifest and joyful by nature, does not find fulfillment for even a moment without the presence of the Sakhis and Manjaris. This is an amazing point. It's Prabhupada the Saraswati states in Vrindavan Mahimamrita. The pleasure of the eyes of the Sakhis is felt by seeing Radha merged in the ocean of love for Krishna. There's another phrase, another sentence from Govinda Lilamrita chapter 11, verse 137. It describes the vicarious pleasure of the Manjaris. It means that the Manjaris are enjoying, by seeing Radharani enjoying with Krishna, the Manjaris also experience it. Let's go vicarious. Not directly, you want to have a loving relationship with some man. So, but you don't have one. you don't have a man. But you see across the you're in an apartment house, another apartment across the way. It's the guy and the girl are lying on a bed, enjoying, embracing, and kissing. You're looking and say, well, you're enjoying that. That's what movies are all about. Guys who can't get a girlfriend, or can't get married, or are afraid to get married, they go to watch love movies to get happiness that way. It's a type of indirect pleasure. You know, because ultimately all pleasure is indirect anyway. Because the body is one place, and the mind is where the pleasures are experienced in the mind, not the body. You take anesthesia and separate the mind from the body, your body can do all kinds of pleasurable things, you won't experience anything. Just like your body can experience all kinds of painful things, like drilling your teeth and pulling out your teeth. But you're on anesthesia, so you're sleeping, you don't feel anything. Do you feel that? I don't feel anything. Because the mind is an agent of feeling. So, if Krishna touches Radharani, the Sakhis start to tremble and sweat, and their body hairs stand on end, and tears go in their eyes. When Krishna kisses Radharani, the Sakhis and Manjaris become intoxicated as if they themselves are getting kissed. That's a pretty good way to get intoxicated. You just go down to the park and watch the bums drink whiskey and get intoxicated. Oh, wow. You already touch the drop, but you get intoxicated. So it's not a very good comparison. But this is described in Govinda Lilamrita. The Radharani is unhappy and crying in separation from Krishna. And the Manjaris also are crying in separation from Krishna. And there's a comment, the same thing. When Krishna touches and kisses Radharani, the effects of trembling and ecstasy are felt in the bodies of the Sakhis and Manjaris. Pretty amazing. Kavi Karnapur explains in Krishna Kamudi. The Manjaris and Sakhis of Radharani reflect every mood of Radharani, whether happy or sad. When tears fall from Radharani's eyes, the Manjaris also cry. When Radharani feels excited, the Manjaris also feel excited. When Radharani laughs, they also laugh. When you become depressed, they also become depressed. Krishna Bhavanamrita Vishwanath Chakravarti explains. When Radharani's Manjaris can't remain living if they don't see the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. With great eagerness, the Manjaris stand by the windows of the Kunja and look inside to see Radha and Krishna locked in embrace. And one of the Manjaris says to another one, says, what an amazing, wonderful situation they have gotten themselves into. Krishna is romantic love personified. He has appeared as Rasaraj to attract the minds of everyone in the universe, including his very self. Srimati Radharani is personification of Mahabhav. She is the embodiment of prema. Not only are Radha and Krishna transcendental, but the Sakhis and Manjaris are also described. Krishna Bhavanamrita describes. The Manjaris of Radharani are unexcelled in beauty. They have boundless beauty, the Manjaris. Each Manjari is expansion of Radharani's expertise in loving dalliance. Every Manjari is competent and qualified herself to be a competitor for Krishna's love. But such desires do not enter their minds even for a moment, because the Manjaris are completely desireless. In this way, the Manjaris eternally dive in the ambrosial sea of service to Radharani. As Radharani's affection is not separate from her identity, it's eternal and self-manifest, so too the Sakhis and Manjaris have love for Radha and Krishna, which is self-manifest and clearly produced from their very own identities. This is beyond normal experience and thus inconceivable. Those things which are inconceivable are not accessible by the mental capacity, mental facility. The actions of Krishna are transcendental, and the ways and means to understand them are also transcendental. Thus, the unfortunate hear about Radha and Krishna, hear about them, and even after hearing about them, they don't develop faith. Because faith, you have to get transcendental, it's called the Lokik Shraddha. You have to get transcendental faith to understand the transcendental reality of Krishna. Sometimes the Manjaris faint from ecstasy they feel by watching the intimate pastimes of Radha Krishna Yoga. It is described by Rupa Goswami's prayer, Nikunja Rasya Stava, which most Gaudiya scholars say is not written by Rupa Goswami. It's very simple, rhyming, Sanskrit, very beautiful, but it exceeds the boundaries of what Rupa Goswami would write about in terms of intimacy and it's not included in his work of Savamala. There's Jagadananda and other scholars, Nitai Das and Vaita Das and others, and many others. They don't accept the Nikunjarasya stuff, although it has the name Rupa Goswami on it. It was written by Daji.
I wish.
Yeah. It's a beautiful poem, and all the Goswamis in Vrindavan sing it, and it's really beautiful, rhyming and easy to sing. But anyway, Kunja Vihari Babaji wanted to quote from that, because maybe there wasn't so much controversy now as here 100 years ago. As Kali Yuga was 100 years younger. so now, as Kali Yuga goes on, more and more controversy, more and more doubts and questions of reality. And that's the way it goes. But he says, a verse from Nikunja Rasya Stava, praises of the secrets of the forest power. O mind, just remember Radha and Krishna in the kunjas of Vrindavan. Their Sakhis are saturated with love. Keep their eyes fixed on looking through the branches of the forest kunja, where they are expanding their work of love in wondrous variety. Overwhelmed in ecstasy, Radha and Krishna fall to the ground the Sakhis and Manjaris, overwhelmed in ecstasy by looking around Krishna's love pastimes, faint. That's pretty good. They become, the Manjaris and Sakhis become a Nanga. They're watching Kamade Shri Krishna. He's becoming a Nanga, they become a Nanga. Everybody becomes a Nanga, except Radharani. She always keeps cool. So this is, because we're describing how the Manjaris have Madhurya, this whole discussion here. So now, Kunjari Goswami quotes Ujjvala, a famous passage involving Mani Manjari. One day, Radharani arranged for Lalita Vishaka to take Mani Manjari to meet Krishna in a private kunj in the forest. The Lalita Vishaka tried to persuade and convince the reluctant Manjari. Finally returned to Radharani's side in failure. She then said to her, "Dear friend, you told me to try and I did. I went to Mani Manjari. I tried to tempt her in many ways. I said, listen, Manjari, I don't believe there's any thrill in this universe that can compare with the ecstasy of Krishna's embrace." Okay, that's pretty inviting. You should really try it at least once. Mani Manjari, you should embrace Krishna at least one time. Give it a try. Besides, Lita and other Sakhis, they're always having love trials with him. Why shouldn't you, just once? The Sakhis can act as both friends and occasionally friends of Radharani, and also occasionally as mistresses of Krishna too. There's nothing wrong with it. Why don't you be like that too? Otherwise, you become too insignificant. Radharani, after hearing all my arguments, Mani Manjari said to me, listen, Sakhi, when Radharani enjoys pleasure of Krishna's company, I find happiness I feel greater than I could gain by doing anything for myself at all. Therefore, then Vishaka concludes her investigation of the loyalty of Mani Manjari, says, therefore, Priya Radha, I am completely convinced that this heart of Manjari is entirely pure, because despite all my temptations and clever tricks on my part, Mani Manjari didn't show the slightest urge for going to meet with Krishna. Mani Manjari ki jai. She's a real hero. Hard to imagine, but sometimes Krishna tries to seduce the Manjaris. He meets with similar failure. One day, one of Radharani's Sakhis was picking flowers to make a garland. Sri Krishna chanced upon her at that time, immediately proposed to her. Oh, beautiful one, why don't you perfect your life by spending a few moments with me in this kunja? The bewildered girl put aside all her feminine tactics and arguments and very simply said to Krishna, be it, be it, Master. Oh, Govinda, I only have one desire, that you please give me greater intelligence so I can serve you and Radharani in the field of ever-expanding ecstatic romance, so that you and Radharani experience newer and newer bliss. For by that service, unlimited gopis have attained the very limit of the fulfillment of desires. Therefore, O Govinda, my mind never becomes eager for your direct embrace. It does not crave for such enjoyments. Please just engage me in the service of you and Radharani. That's it. Good Manjari. But there are situations that Manjaris fail. Well, he's not bringing us to the light here. It's subjective presentation of reality. Well, that's the way, and that's Babaji presents in his books. The Manjaris never enjoyed Radharani. That's the way his Guru Maharaj Kundalini presents here and taught him. And mostly people present it that way. But Vishnu, true to his independent revolutionary spirit, he a lot of times doesn't agree with the six Goswamis, but he has his way of convincing others to his viewpoints. But he says in Krishna Amrita that sometimes the Sakhis lock the Manjaris in the kunja, and the only one left in the kunja is Krishna, the Manjari, and Cupid. So that side is also there. So I'll leave it up to you to figure out what happens. See what happens when you get there. You learn a lot of time of philosophy and try to follow it, but when push comes to shove, we'll see what your philosophy is. How strong your philosophical power is to resist Krishna, the irresistible, attractive, greatest romantic hero in the world. Yeah. So I brought my lip balm with me because my lips are dry out every 5 minutes. It's crazy. Okay, that's enough for this for today. Page 42.